Hey guys, this is craphunter and welcome to War Thunder. Or welcome back to War Thunder, I should say. This is quite a surprising. I'm quite surprised at how popular this thing is. I mean, it's not like it's not like the Mighty Jingles, but that would be crazy if it was. Um, but no, I'm very happy with the kind of positivity that I'm seeing around this thing. So I will continue making it because it's apparently quite popular. And also, I wanted to make a little bit of an extended video. This is for everyone who asked the question about the crew skills, because I had no idea what the crew skills was. Well, I had a vague idea, but I hadn't really had much planned for crew skills. So, I hadn't known about it until now that I've learned about it. I'm like, yay! So, what are crew skills? Well, the crew skills... actually, no, before we go on... No, yeah, crew skills. Sorry, my mistake. Right, so, crew skills. Now, obviously, in War Thunder, you have variety of crew. In fact, I will go to Deutschland or Ruski. Yes, Ruski. Right, so, little bit of an educational lesson here. When you go with a nation, when you first start off, you get the ability to recruit crew. Now, you first start off with 3 planes, but what you can do is you can get another aircraft. And then you can buy it for more lines. You can get another aircraft crew, and that allows you to have 5 planes to use at premium without money. So if you as you rank up through the game, you get to have more aircraft, which is really cool. Obviously, that because when you go through the research tech tree, you'll be able to unlock more aircraft, meaning that you'll be able to go down there and grab a nice bit of aircraft, which is nice. I quite like that. That's pretty cool. And of course, if you want to put, it's a bit like with these crews and everything. It's a bit like a garage slot in World of Tanks. You only get given a certain amount, and then afterwards you have to start paying gold, which are these eagles here. This is pretty much, if you're not really certain about this, but you're a World of Tanks player, that is credits, that is gold. It's just they put a fancy branding logo on it, so it's all cool. Let's get out of Russians and put something like that. Yeah, there you go, British aircraft. So anyway, once you've got 5 things like what I've got, you can then start ranking up your aircraft. Another cool thing which I've noticed is the more higher tier aircraft, like if you've put, the other thing which is kind of interesting is you've got to be careful, or at least you've got to know that you're going to be good with some of your aircraft, because unfortunately, if you start putting aircraft like I did once, where I put a tier 4 aircraft where I've got tier 3 and tier 2 and tier 1s, it'll put you in the higher tier matches, because you've got a higher tier aircraft, so it balances things out. And technically that's bad, because, for example, a Gladiator and a Nimrod are not going to last as long in combat as much as a Spitfire would last. However, this is a kind of alright. It's not as bad as it could be if you were in World of Tanks, for example. Because imagine a tier 1 tank versus a tier 10. A Latractor versus a mouse, as I would say. It's one of those things which is really crazy. But in this game, you can actually do an effective job. The only thing is, of course, is that the machine guns on one aren't going to be as good as, say, as a Hurricane or a Spitfire or anything. So, it's just things like that you've got to be aware about. But yes, crew skills. What are we going to do about crew skills? Well, let us learn. So, with each individual slot has each individual crew skills, and these take form, not that way, these take form in, there you go, these take form in this bit, and I don't know how you get crew points. I'm assuming what happens is you play through matches and you naturally gain XP points for your crew. That's just, oh, excuse me, that's exactly what kind of you get through the thing. So at the moment my crew level is level 51, which is quite cool. And just a quick note, if you are going to be using a bomber, if you're not going to be using a bomber, that's what I should say, don't bother about the gunners. Don't. Right? Reason why I say this is because this whole section is for gunners in bombers. So say, for example, you were using a Lancaster, or a Wellington, or a Heinkel, or a B-17, B-17? Yes, B-17, Flying Fortress, or a Super Fortress, or anything like that. This section would make sense. But you're not a bomber. If you're just going to be a fighter, like I'm going to be a fighter, don't bother about things like this. So, there you go. So the two things you've got to worry about the most is pilot and ground service. Now, technically speaking, I'm still very much a noob at this, so I haven't actually increased any of these things, barring reload speed. Mainly because in arcade battles, if you haven't noticed already, when you fire all your ammunition, because the thing still has its own ammunition, when you're firing in arcade battles and you run out of ammunition on the machine guns, you get given either 20 seconds if you're complete nub, or sorry, completely out of them, and if you haven't upgraded it, or less time given what your level is. This also applies for if you're in historical battles and if you want to get to an aircraft, if you go to an airplane base and you land there. So that would be also things. Another little thing which is quite interesting, repair speed. Now, this may start to apply for more of the more updated aircraft, which is why I'm still trying to find a thing that allows me not to automatically repair them. Because apparently, you can use Lions to fix your aircraft automatically, which is a good thing, but then at the same time, it really impacts on your gameplay. So I'm trying to figure out where that is. So if you guys know, do let me know. Qualification, I'm afraid I have little to no idea what this is. To control, crew skills. I'm assuming that what you can do is once you've picked that, you can do that, so fair enough. But no, so basically you can utilize the crew skills, and what I do is you can actually upgrade them. So for me, I've just focused on reload speed, because the faster you can reload, the more likely you can get back into the fray and shoot people down. Not that. This is basically your individual pilot. So this is all the piloting things. Now, keen vision basically means, as it says there, at the distance he can detect the enemy. So normally, technically you can detect the enemy when they're miles ahead of you. Well, not literal miles, but you know what I mean. And so basically what this means is that you'll see a dot on the horizon, and you can tell that's bad guy. Like, if you're like an actual pro at flying planes, and you know your plane's like the back of your hand, then what you'll find is you'll see like the shape of a Heinkel or the shape of an IL-2. And in the distance you can see that. But in game your pilot hasn't seen it yet, so it will remain as a little dot on the horizon. And the more improved your skill is, the less time it will take. So the further the distance away you can see your target. In all fairness, at the moment what it's like is actually not that bad. So just a little heads up. Is visibility range, so keen vision. Yeah, so the visibility as well also is another thing which shows, once again, it's an extra visual thing just to help you see where you are, you know, how far away your targets are and all that jazz. G tolerance basically means, for those of you who don't know what that is basically as you're trying to pull an aircraft, as the aircraft pulls up, for example, like you're in a dogfight and someone's on your tail and you pull a hard right, well, although the plane is going right, your whole body is shifting down. It's like your whole body is resisting the movement. And to some certain extent, this can cause blackout. And blackout is where the blood from your brain drains down, so you pass out for a few seconds. Some planes were built during the Second World War to compensate for this and to naturally pull up, like the Stuka dive bomber, for example. But in this case, what this does also with G tolerance in this game is it basically means you don't suffer as much of a blackout as things like that, because regretfully, you know, it's kind of, it can be quite frustrating. It can make things a little difficult because as you're blacking out, you lose sight of your target. You can't really see where you're going, and it makes flying very difficult for the few seconds that you have to pull. So G tolerance is once again something which I might increase on my plane, because this is a Spitfire after all. You know, this is not something which you want to take the mickey out of. Right, okay, I'm gonna vitality. So, stamina. What does this stamina mean? Well, basically, stamina is your pilot's accuracy upon suffering G-turnings and, you know, aggressive turning, you know, really, like, for example, having to deal with turning in the dogfighting means that your accuracy may be affected. If we have a look at the official thing, it says there, look, your G tolerance will gradually decrease, and depending on the time spent in the session and the number of G forces sustained. So basically, you won't be as accurate, and you won't be as effective in combat, which is why sometimes if you're having a good session, your plane might your commander just may be completely out of it, just completely out of it. Feel sorry for him, but still, that's the best you can do. So so vitality. So the big things you probably want to have is G tolerance, because then that way you can yeah, in mouse aim mode, this affects the control accuracy of the aircraft. So yeah, so you know, if you're going to be going for a basic understanding, G tolerance, stamina are like quite high, I'd say. Keen vision and visibility as well. To be able to see your target is important, but I reckon G tolerance and stamina if you want to last longer in a fight, because that way then you can upgrade those as much as you can if you want. But I find that these two probably are the most important things. Vitality is pretty much the same thing. Is how much health your pilot has. Because there are occasions where you get knocked unconscious because of someone shooting into the cockpit. And it's a major pain in the arse, but unfortunately it does happen. For ground service, repair rank and all that, I definitely would recommend stuff like that. But for me, I went for the reload speed, because at the moment I still can't find where the hell that little button that tells me not to repair things. I would highly recommend though that you get on and try and put in those repair rank and repair speed, because then that way you can repair your aircraft faster. So if you have it all ranked up and perfect, then thumbs up to you. Accelerated training. Now this is where you can use premium money or premium stuff, and as you can see, it's actually kind of nice, because if you want to use 500 skill points, or sorry, if you want to use 1,000 of these, you get crap tons of the experience for your crew. Or if you want to use 100, which you can actually get, because actually I got to 250 off the beat. They're very kind and actually give you that, which is quite nice of Gaijin. And then of course you can get 30, which is quite nice. And then finally, if you only just want to use one, then, you know, fair enough. Like, for example, 106? Now, let's go 105. Bang! Yes, 10 skill points. Now I have 10 skill points to repair my aircraft, so I will upgrade that naturally. Oops, don't have enough skill points. Right, let's focus on that then. Huzzah! So, you can use these things, you can use Eagles to buy stuff like that. So, there you go. Generally speaking, I mean, I hope I've covered everything on this aspect. But when it comes to just using fighter planes, don't use that, because that's completely about bombers and you'll just be wasting skill points. This is about your pilot. My recommendations is the G tolerance and stamina, so that your guy can last longer in a fight. Ground service, you want to focus on reload, repair, and repair speed, so that way you can fix your aircraft faster and be able to have the ammunition put faster. And finally, you want to have a good bit on keen vision and visibility. Vitality, I don't think is as important as it's, you know, I mean, more often you know, yes, okay, it's a pain in the ass if you get shot in the crew, but that's something which you could rank up if you don't have enough points to go around or whatever. But yes, highly recommendation, those two, and then those three. So, with all that said, let's get to the other section of the video. So yeah, you can do that, and it's the same, and the best part about this, I suppose, is the fact that you have the same kind of issue here. For example, like my crew level is at like 34, so I need to increase this, don't I? Otherwise I'm just going to suck at this game. Yeah, so there you go, increasing that. Go to ground service, because that way then we can upgrade that. Repair rank to 3, and go. Yeah, so there you go. So level 42 on that one. So yeah, you know, you can see where I'm coming from on this one. You know, every crew has its own thing. So say, for example, I actually wanted to hang on. Say, for example, I wanted to change my aircraft, so I wanted to have someone with a gun on, someone I wanted to have which had like a gunner at the background. Then, so then I could then start working on my gunner skills. But that said, I'm not going to, because I'm going to be dedicated to using fighter planes. I might go for bombers in the future, but I'm not much of a bomber person. I'm more of a fighter person, so that's where I'm going to be for my one. Another little thing, which if you guys haven't heard of, which is the thing I was talking about, is the hangar. Now, this is basically, I don't think I mentioned this a bit before in my other video, but if you guys are joining me from GDTV, I might as well mention it again. The hangar basically allows you to put decorations in allows you to put decorations on the plane. And also, if you have a premium account, you can put 4 decorations, whereas with this one, you only have the ability to put 2. But that's not too bad, because then you can start putting, where else have a look, see, planes. I might, yeah, bit of beer on the side, right? Yeah, the Berlin Express, delivering bottles of beer everywhere. I think I might put that, like, there or there? I think I might put it here. No, it doesn't look right. Berlin Express, delivering beers to your door via World War II. Another little cool feature about this is you can have test flight. If you haven't really flown this plane before, then it gives you the option to do that. And so let's try a little bit of test flying, just so we can show people. There you go. So, conditions, Britain. Yay! And so basically what this does is it allows you to take control of your aircraft, and it teaches you a few of the things on how to fly. Well, it doesn't literally teach you, but you can teach yourself. Oh no, you can start up. So there you go. I am in my plane, and it is nice and sunny, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's give her a rev up. So there you go. I'm at the aircraft. Well, there's a contact to our left. So let's go fly and engage that contact. So generally speaking, you can just learn the core basics, I suppose, of flying this plane, sorry, and utilizing its strength. So there you go. There's a few things to fly around, and it's just quite enjoyable, really. Oh, Ramsgate, there's a lot more land over there. Nice. Oh, my plane looks so cool now. I love it. I love the Spitfire. It's such a nice plane. I can't wait to get the Mark II variant. But that said, I'll probably have to wait till I can get a few other higher tier planes before I can go into it. That said, I've noted in some battles, I've seen the Mark II Spitfire in the battles that the Mark I Spitfire's in. You never get that. There you go. Pepper, 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 pepper. Bang! He is sorted. And I remember to do that. And as you can see on the reload screen, just about there, I can't put it, but you can see the little red marker on the left-hand side. If I hadn't upgraded my engine my reload speed, then it would end up with me only having 20-second reload. And in some games, 20 seconds is an immensely long time. So it's something which you've got to be extremely careful about if you don't upgrade it. Just do a little bit of showboating. Ow. Hello, Margate, or Ramsgate, or wherever this is. It's a shame there isn't a Malta map, otherwise I would have test flighted over there. Oh well. If any of you are wondering what I mean by that, I discovered, I said about this in my last episode, but once again, I'll mention it again. My grandfather, who served in the war, actually flew one of these beautiful planes over the island of Malta and took part in the Berlin airlift, or I can't remember exactly what it is. I can't remember the exact name. I know it was either the Berlin airlift or the Berlin Express, but I put Berlin he took part in that, and he was quite an awesome person doing that. Hence, why I put the Berlin Express on the side of a Spitfire. It's my little homage to him to say, I'm proud of you, grandfather. I'm immensely proud to be your grandson, which is a thumbs up. But yeah, so in this test zone, you can fly your plane about and just generally get a feel for it. You know, I find that the British planes are awesome because their maneuverability in combat is actually really awesome. You know, unfortunately, I have flown the American ones, and they are quite impressive. And I actually have a replay for you, so that's why this video is extended. But I thought I might as well fly this around just to show you what the test flight is. I'm assuming I can just go back to hangar. Yes, I can. Let's do one last little pass over the ground. Scare the living shit out of the tourists here. Hey, tourist, you want to have a lovely time? How about seeing a Spitfire fly over you? Okay, I'll shut up with the accents. Take your pictures. Drunken Spitfire at the wheel. Oh god, my language is terrible today. Right. Ooh, what is that? That is ally. So yes. But yeah, this is quite cool. To be honest, I didn't really think test flight would have that much to do. But you know, if you wanted to get a feel for your plane, of course, then by all means give it a go. But in all personal aspects, I kind of have a feel for my plane in combat. That's when you can really test it. And Banzai! The wing has cut loose. I don't think it's the only thing that's cut loose, but thank you for telling me. It's like, yay! You blew yourself up! Yay! Right, so, whilst we're waiting for that to go along... okay, so there you go. There's the test flight. Also, you've got information down south of... Oh, not down south, but this is all the informational bits about the plane. It doesn't go into high details, but it does give you like a whole A4 sheets worth of information, which you guys can read, because I'm not going to sit here for like half an hour trying to read that, because you guys will become bored. However, I will be going over to another nation, which I am pleasantly surprised to see has done rather well. Well, at least it does well in my books. Nang, 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 nang. American planes. Yes, these are the American planes, which have completely surprised me. Hang on, let me try and see if I can just get aircraft. Cut music. Damn it. Anyway, so, I'm just going to cut music for a few seconds because the music's being a pain. Oh, it knows. Right, good music. Right, so like I was saying, this is the American aircraft of America, and it actually is quite surprising. I ranked that one up. I think this might be the only plane I might actually have where I need to use a gunner. No, but that said, pleasantly surprised me. I mean, in my other videos, I kind of mocked the American planes, and I knew I'd get hate for that, but come on. What opportunities were there? Yeah, I mean, I like the American planes, don't get me wrong. I just didn't have the faith that I could be good in them. Yes, that said though, these have surprised me quite a bit. In surprising fact, this one has surprised me quite a bit. I mean, she's ugly as Christ, unfortunately, but you know, what can you do? America didn't have fashion standards for their planes. I like it when they bring these colours in. The sort of green with that on the top. That I like. But why in God's name did they put it colour-wise for that? I'll never know. But anyhow, yes, so these are the American Buffaloes. And as you can see, the American tech tree has its all flashy aircraft. You've got the P-39, the P-47, P-51, and also you have a line of American premiums, but, you know, that's pretty alright, I guess, but still, really surprisingly good, good aircraft. In fact, I have a replay of how good they are, which hopefully is going to be alright. It's a replay, and unfortunately, the, well, to be honest, it's not like action-packed, it's not crazy, but at the same time, it's kind of one of the things about this game that I like the most, in a sense. So, definitely try and, hopefully get a good commentary going on about this. So this one's currently at the Alpine, reaches. And, this is at our base. Yes, this is at our base. Yes, so currently we're on just like a standard match where we've got to destroy enemy ground targets, and there's a mountain.
Your mission is to destroy the enemy's ground equipment and bases.
There you go. And there is my plane. I was flying the American F-2A Tier 1 aircraft, I believe it's called. I don't know, I can't remember. But either how, it shouldn't be as laggy when the aircraft goes. So, I hadn't really played this thing. I wasn't really sure what kind of tactics this thing was going to be utilizing, because I knew the American style of plane is very much more different from how I fly planes. You know, I'm used to dogfighting with the British, so I was a bit, I'd say, lag. There you go. I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. So anyway, trying to see. Unfortunately, one of the enemy aircraft that I was going to be targeting got shot down, but there was another aircraft which I was trying to have a go at, and I was also trying to make sure I wasn't going to get too embroiled in the combat with. Having a little pot shot there, and it was actually coming in quite a nice dogfight with this person. I was like, whoa, this thing's maneuverable. And trying to sneak up behind him. The guy behind me had a very lucky shot, because he somehow was able to pepper that guy's wing, therefore by only giving me an assist, once again getting very close. This is like a couple of hours after I made that other video for GDTV, so as I was flying over here, I was spotting a number of enemy aircraft down to my far right, and at 12 o'clock low, there was a bunch, if you can see a dot flying into the background, those were 3 enemy fighters annihilating our defensive position. Now, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go for them, and I was still kind of dawdling over that fact. But then I spotted another plane. That was an Su-2 heading towards our base, and as our team, as clever as ever, totally didn't realise what that was. So I ended up trying to have a little go at it, try and hopefully get to it before it was be able to become any more effective in bombing. Unfortunately, however, for our team and for my plane, I couldn't quite reach it in time. So at this point, I was thinking, right, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to get this guy. Let's go for someone else. And this is kind of where, unfortunately, I hit a bit of a lag spike. So as I'm flying towards the plane, which this one is a lot closer than the previous one, I then find that I've actually been going upside down. That's handy. Hopefully it's not been too bad. Still, not really good. So by this point, I'm like, right, okay, I'm not going to be able to catch those aircraft. I must go try and do something else. So I decide to try and go for one of the enemy fighters going down south, because I thought, you know what, I need to do a bit of dogfighting. I was ranked quite low on the scoreboard, and I wanted to do some good. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to go into the fray and try and get some scoring points. Now, unfortunately, because there isn't any markers or any kind of things in the front of me, you may not see, and I may not see, the aircraft I was targeting at the time. I just remember it, that's all. Right, where were they? I see one block. Ah, yes. This is when I was going down south and I was kind of doing diving into the cliff style. Because this is like when a few of our allies were engaging the enemy planes. And this is where it got a little bit crazy. But it was cool. So there was an enemy plane. There you go. Bang. There was one of those Russian planes. And I think I just got a kill off that one. So where was it? There was another enemy plane. A German something or other. So I was like, oh shit, that was close. I thought I was going to hit the... I thought I was going to hit the thing there. As you can see, I'm trying to have a pot shot at this guy who was unfortunately shooting at my ally. I mean, mainly I was just trying to announce my presence, and then I realised that there were bad guys right behind me, so I thought, right, I've got to get the hell out of Dodge and try and avoid getting into too much of a combat. Then I spotted an AA position. I thought, you know what, I'll just pepper this target and see what I can do. Now, as you can see the little 2 targets over there, that's when my allies just died. And I was like, no! Run away! And this is when I really took advantage of the plane's reliable speed, and I love doing this. I don't know why, I just love flying low to the ground and using my plane's natural speed and the curves of the area to my advantage. Oh, it's so awesome. Unfortunately, because this is a replay, it doesn't get all of my maneuverings up perfectly, but it just does the job. Thumbs up. Um, so as I'm trying to gain as much speed as possible, then I spot that enemy fighter again trying to have a go at one of my mates. So this time I really start having a go at him. I'm like, right, okay mate, you've been hitting my ally, I'm going to shoot you down. And I land some pretty effective shots into his side. I'm not really sure what tiering this aircraft is. To be honest, I still don't quite know what it is. I know it's German, and that's about it. And somehow I think that guy just barely scraps a little collision off. And this is when I was reloading. And I was like, oh shit. So 20-second reload, just to note that, 20-second reload. And by this point I was about like maybe 10 seconds or 3, 2, 1, kind of around this time I then started to get my ammunition back. So I was like, right, now I can get you, you son of a bitch. Bang, 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 bang. And this guy was a very good pilot. He did everything he could, really, which was quite impressive. But I knew what he was going to be doing, so I knew what kind of style. Whoa, that was close. I was completely focused on him. I'm like, I am not letting you get away. So yeah, by this point, the pilot was really, he was doing his bloody best, and that's when I finally started peppering at him and getting his wing. Then I catch his last bit of his rudder, which ended up with his plane going down, and bang. There's a second kill for me. There you go, HE-112. That was what it is. So I was pretty surprised at how effective this plane was. And then, of course, I retreated because there were like 5 enemy aircraft coming towards us. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run away. Just saying. So at this point, the game is looking pretty darn bad, as our team hasn't really spent time knocking out enemy targets and has been constantly being shot down by the enemy team. I decide to try and find a way around the enemy team to try and knock out some of their AA positions. And I might try and speed it up, just so that way we can kind of fly in, and just using the natural terrain to my advantage. And I might just slow it down back up to 1, because this is where this is probably my favourite part of the replay. And it's not action, it's not crazy shooting planes down, it's nothing absolutely not, it's not like, oh my god, what's going on? It's quite simply me flying around the terrain in this game, and I really enjoy it. It's so nice. Really pleasant to fly around. Trying to utilize all of the cliffs and all of the sort of tight traverses and all that. And I was just doing this naturally. I'm not doing this to show off. It's just literally I like using the terrain. And this is one of the things I love the most about mountainous areas or terrain like this, because you can actually utilize the terrain around you. That was a lucky fake tree there. I thought I'd lost my plane then. But no, I like utilizing terrain like this to be able to get the advantage. I mean, obviously if I was being shot at by someone, I probably would have died by now. But that said, it is so nice to fly planes like this and like that. This is the bit that surprised me about American planes. Some of the American planes are really good at banking, or whatever it means where they do that, because I just love doing that. So then I find an enemy AA position that has been relatively untouched throughout the game. There's like a thing on fire, because I think it was like a player who tried beforehand. And then there was another AA position that was there, and although at first I thought I was just going to get a couple of pepper shots, it wasn't until I came into my second pass, I believe. So anyway, that's when I knock out one of them. I'm like, haha, I've got you now. Which is when... Is it this one? Or is it the next one? No, it's the next one. No, it was this one. That's when I started taking fire, and I'm like, oh shit! Clearly they don't want me here. Oh, I take a hit. So I use the tree to utilize the trees, and I'm just like, oh shit! The natural terrain blocks me, and just escaped. Close call, but yeah. So this is when he tries shooting at me, trying to get me down. I'm just like, oh crud. But I knew I had to focus in and just try and get like one last strafe. I knew it was only one last strafe, and bang, there you go, target annihilated. So there was like one AA position down, which is quite nice. Because at this point, destroying AA positions, for those of you who don't know, is actually also counts as destroying vehicles and enemy base positions. So by this point, the game was starting to turn around. It could have easily been lost, but it was starting to turn around. This was another occasion where I was getting a shot into an enemy AA position. So there was another thing that was being destroyed by the by Allied forces. Now at this point I knew I probably should have reloaded. I'm not sure if I was reloading or I wasn't reloading, I can't remember. But this is when I was starting to encroach upon the enemy base. There was lovely fog, but unfortunately this meant that the enemy probably could see me with it relatively soon. There's one plane that was trying to shoot at me. So at this point I knew my life was very short. So I had to destroy at least one or two of the AA positions. And I destroyed one more AA position before unfortunately I get chased down by people. Where is he? There's one. And there's another plane which was taking advantage of this. So unfortunately I get caught in, and the enemy plane shoots. Unfortunately then my plane got hit in the rear fuselage, which meant that I could not pull up. So I was like, ah shit, bang. So unfortunately I was destroyed by that buffalo. I don't think it was actually that buffalo, I think it was someone else, but I think the buffalo got the last shot in before I crashed. Which is a bit of, kind of crap in my opinion, but you know, unfortunately, I mean the other person got an assist, but it's a bit annoying. So at this point I'm just trying to make my decision about the aircraft I'm using. And consider this, I had only just lost one aircraft. If you've not noticed the fact that I've only just lost one aircraft throughout this entire battle. I mean, that was more about luck than anything else, but to lose one aircraft after all that is pretty good. At this point, one of my allies is trying to shoot down a Hawker Hurricane, who I think was trying to go for our base or something, I'm not sure. And, unfortunately, my maneuverability and speed was just too high for the Hawker Hurricane, so I had to pull out and then flip right back in as I make my move to try and take him down. The Hurricane tries to do a bit of a, I climb as far as I can to get out of here, but then I had him because, you know, well, I mean, I peppered the shots into him so much, and then eventually I took him down. So it was a bit of a close call, but I was able to knock him out eventually, which was quite nice. It might be that the game shows that most of the traces missing, but I was aiming on that. As if you could tell, I was aiming for that little circle in front of the plane a lot, so it's possible that the traces missed it or whatever. I don't know. It might have gone through actually, but sometimes it does that. So I was reading where there was like some kind of little thingy that could show you where you're shooting. But anyhow, so by this point the game has actually turned itself quite around. It's starting to come really close. Like only about a few more of the enemy positions only need to be knocked out before the game's over. We still are very close though. We had like 7 AA guns or 7 vehicles that were still about. So if the enemy really started to concentrate again on them, we probably would have lost whilst I was on my way to get there. I decided to go from a high to low attack pattern to try and see if we can knock out the last remaining, enemy positions. And it's been quite frenetic defensive. I mean, geez, this match was fantastic because we were just trying so desperately to get rid of as many things as possible. And at this point you can see that a few traces in the background is where our planes and their planes are currently duking out as I go into the right hand side of the airfield. And this is when like one of the bombers was trying to fly out, when there's a bunch of the enemy planes trying to shoot him down. There's a Catalina, and this one player who's right on that guy's head, and you can see that all the enemy planes they've got are the really shitty ones, whereas I still have whereas this was actually my first good plane, which I quite liked. It's quite enjoyable. Unfortunately, the difficulty with these planes was that despite the fact that my gun was really good, and there was enemy planes smashing into each other. Well done. This is when the game, and bang! Hang on. Oh, no. Right. This was that little explosion there, before I panicked a bit. That little explosion there is when the enemy last position was taken. That burning wreck down there was my last kill, and I think I only just stole the kill on that one, on the last one, which was quite nice. But yeah, that was the American replay, so now let's... Ah, cool. So, yeah, that was when we had just stolen the last kill of the day, which was quite nice. I was the last person to kill someone, and I was really proud. I don't know whether it counted, though, which kind of sucks. But I did get, like, a whole bunch of experience for it, so I'm assuming I did. So, yeah, that was the American replay, and I'm quite surprised at how effective some of the good choice of music, I'm quite surprised at how effective some of the American aircraft was. Well, at least I was surprised at how I could use the American aircraft, I should more likely say. Because, as I've said in World of Tanks, everyone has their own style. Some people like to have the boom and zoom of German aircraft. And some people like to dogfight, like myself, in the Spitfire, trying to get the nice looking planes going about. Or you could also like the raw power of Russia, because I hear Russian planes are like ridiculous when it comes to power and guns. I mean, I know the American P-39 are quite bad, but I'm not too sure as to which one's worse. I'm still quite a noob at this game, as you can tell. But yeah, so, I was surprised I was quite surprised at how effective some of the American aircraft... I was surprised at how effective I was in the American aircraft, and I am going to try and pursue the American aircraft line. I probably will go for Germany at some point, but I'm not too focused on them, I'm like, I enjoy them, they're nice, they're entertaining, but they are nothing in comparison to the British and American, because let's face it, British and American aircraft are awesome. Well, now the Americans are awesome, because I know I can fly them. The Japanese I might encounter at some point, but I doubt it. I'm not a big fan of... ironically enough, I'm not a big fan of Axis planes. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are awesome, and I like them. But they're I don't know, there's a certain elegance to seeing a Spitfire, or an American P-51, or anything like that. I mean, seriously, there are days when I went to the War and Peace show a year ago, and a Spitfire and a Lancaster flew over, I felt pride when I saw that plane. So, I think that's pretty much what I would say about the aircraft in the British, I'm not saying that the Germans are bad, or the Russians or the Japanese are bad. I'm just saying I feel a little bit... I prefer the British and American planes. So, and that is it for this episode. So, I hope you have enjoyed this. If you do, please feel free to leave a like or a comment. If you like it enough to subscribe, then feel free to let me know that you're subscribing, because that works. No, just feel free to subscribe to my channel, and and if you have any tips, hints, or feedback, put it in the comments section down below. We shall be going on next video for War Thunder. We shall be going for more live endeavours. Fingers crossed. This means that fingers crossed. This should mean that we should be able to get better performance and be able to play not only the British but the American as well. So thank you very much for watching. This is craphunter signing out.